Today I'm going to be doing a watercolour illustration of the Snowdrops. Hello everyone, so today I'm going to be doing a watercolour illustration of Snowdrops. So yesterday I painted this one, as you can see, and I did this for a YouTube short. I haven't uploaded it yet, but I have done a voiceover. So for this painting I did my ink technique that I like to do, where I draw ink with my fountain pen and then do a watercolour wash over the top and the mix. And then this one's just going to be a painted one. So the flowers themselves do have masking fluid on, and I think, are they dry? Oh, I hope so. Oh, that wasn't a good sound for it being dry. I did just make a little hole in that one, so maybe not. I've left them for a while to dry. Maybe I don't know as much about masking fluid as I thought I did. I've used it a couple of times, but the rest of it's dry. Anyway, never mind about this bit. Nope. Oh, that bit wasn't. Anyway, so I used this, turning it around, colour. Oh, sorry, I'm trying to find this colour shaper that I use this end to obviously put masking fluid down. I haven't actually used this brush at all, so I don't know if it's a good brush or not. I just bought it and use it obviously to apply masking fluid. Okay, now let's begin. Now oh, there it is. I thought I couldn't find it for a minute there. So my oval wash brush, and my idea is that I'm going to get Gambo shoe and add a lot of water. Get a bit more water on my brush. Oh, or maybe that's a bit too much water, but we'll see. Get some yellow. My idea is to just just do. I still want this to be a loose painting like this one. It's just not with ink. So I'm just going to just colour the whole page. And the reason I'm doing yellow first is because I want to have the yellow dry so it's got a glow in the background. And then I'll get a darker green and start working on the grass. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. I just saw a bit that I hadn't painted. Anyway, and then paint obviously the grass will be a darker green with a mix of yellow, and then the darker colour would be a wet and wet, like the dark indigo, to make it like kind of like how dark this background is. Now there is only one thing with this brush, you can see, because it's a lot of the fibres are coming out, so you can see little fibres here and there, which is pretty annoying. Try and brush them out. And some of them are little flakes off the masking fluid. So these ones are completely white. I think this yellow bit here might be where it wasn't dry. So those little yellow bits I might have to use like an acrylic marker of some kind to make them white again, because I think it may have pulled off. I'm hoping I'm wrong. Okay. Right. So I can Gambo shoe. Just sort of roughly put it in random places with there's no real design here. Just all over the place. Okay. A bit here, a bit there. Just like that. Okay. So, I'm going to force this dry with a hairdryer. Okay, so I've just mixed up my green. Well, there was a little bit of green left over in my palette. And so I've just added a little bit more sap green and a bit more gamboge hue into it, but there is a little bit of indigo. I've just got a smaller brush. I'm just going to move this out of the way a little bit so I can try and do this. Okay, and then gamboge hue and mix it in like that. Oops, although I did, I painted out the lines. That's alright, I can kind of do this kind of technique a little bit. Maybe. Or sap green. Indigo. Oh, sorry. I moved my watercolours. I literally just moved them and I already forgot, and I was talking about what colours I was adding. I want to add a bit more pigment to this, maybe. Added a bit more indigo, but I don't want too much indigo because although I want the grass to be obviously darker than the background, I don't want it too dark, because when it comes to doing a bit of a loose kind of painting with the indigo to make the background kind of dark like that painting on the left, I want it to be a lot darker than the grass. I hope that made sense. So that, a bit of gamboge. Oops. So I just hit my pen box on my desk. Gamboge hue here. And then a bit of so kind of when I get them loose and get them to react, I use a little sorry, a little amount of water on my brush compared to, because I've dried the background so it won't cauliflower as much, so I've got a bit more control about where it loosely goes, where it the pigment goes to. Let's add a bit more sap green to my indigo. Oh, again, sorry. Okay, I'm mixing a much darker green. So I did this painting a year ago. No, sorry, 2 years ago. I believe I did the other painting version of this. That painting, I was watching it back actually, because when I was doing the voiceover for my short, I was just re-watching it, remembering what happened in that painting. And I struggled a lot because I realised that I didn't do a lot of planning. I didn't have all the colours that I actually needed in my watercolour palette, and I have just realised, look, that's meant to be, I'm just drying off my brush on a paper towel off camera. I've realised that I've actually missed out masking this snowdrop. So I was just talking about how I was trying to explain that video I was unprepared. I didn't have all the right watercolours in my palette, and I wanted to repaint this and see if I could do it better. Basically, I wanted to give it another go and see if I could improve on it, and I've still managed to forget something and be unprepared, which was the masking of the snowdrop. Although maybe that's also kind of the pressure part. Maybe, because I feel like I'm trying to beat my previous painting. Maybe that's... because I'm not saying much because I'm trying to really concentrate. To that. Indigo sap green. Oh, it's this one, wasn't it? I haven't quite done the darker green in the back. So I would say for this painting, although it's, I can't see, that's the kind of thing that I was worried about. I've kind of lost this strand, this bit of grass, as you can see, compared to the dark. So I've got two options. I can maybe add a bit more yellow over the top and hope it's still wet enough to mix, or I can try and make darker green, maybe try and highlight the grass again. Maybe I might just have to take that as a loss. Oops. Ooh, I don't have enough water on the brush there. I don't know, at this point I can't decide whether I would class this as a repainting, because I just wanted to paint Snowdrops anyway. But if I'm kind of painting or trying to repaint the idea that I had when I first did this painting 2 years ago where I messed up, I guess, oops, I guess that is kind of a repainting. Oops. Just added that one there. Should make it I don't know how I feel about this at the moment. I don't know if I would class this as successful yet. Because I mean the thing is, once it's dried, I can go over with an even darker colour. So these bits here, you know, I can do a lot more indigo in them to make them even darker. If I'm not too happy with it. Because I mean that's the problem with watercolour. If you obviously you go light to dark. If you do something light and you make a mistake, you can obviously you can cover it with the darker pigment. But obviously if you do something too dark, you can't really erase the colour. And that's one of the big kind of, I don't want to say rules. It's just like, is it technique? It's not a rule. It's just how they work. Is the best way to put it, I would say. I think this one was easier to paint. Maybe because obviously the ink pen, the ink pen defines more of the lines better. I think I'm losing some of my strands of grass in this, and I know that I've been doing this bit for a while. it's taken me a while because I'm trying to be very careful so I can still get the look that I want, because I think I have mentioned many times before that I kind of describe myself as I guess a clumsy artist. So before I found out that I really like loose paintings, I really wanted to try to do the really detailed artworks where they do like line art and the really intricate things, but I don't have a steady hand for it, I guess is the best way to put it, and I know that, and I'm not that's just how I am. So when I started investigating loose paintings and I started trying my own loose paintings, I don't think I've really gone back. I think most of my work now has a loose feel to it. So I think this is also a bit of a struggle because of, I mean, it's not overly intricate, but kind of how delicate I'm trying to be, because these are smaller. Obviously this is smaller than this painting, so this is just one snowdrop, whereas this is a couple. I mustn't forget this one that I accidentally painted over. I almost forgot about it again. So I am going to have to use a white gel pen because I don't think I can get much more pigment lifted. I'm drying my brush off with a paper towel in the background. I don't think I can get much more pigment off that. It's a bit whiter. Right, is that all of them, the actual stalks to the flowers done? I think it is. So I think over here is more grass. Get the sap green and just so I do obviously have a sketch underneath, but as you can see I'm kind of ignoring the sketch to a point. Yep. Okay, so let's do the darker green. It's difficult to, I don't know, judge, I guess. I want them to mix in with the grass like that, but I don't want it to completely cauliflower and cover them as well, if that makes sense. So kind of like, the best way I can describe it is I've just added the really dark grass, but you can still kind of see these bits of strands, and it hasn't completely, sorry, stems, hasn't really completely taken over those bits of grass. Oh, does that make sense? I don't think I'm making sense. It makes sense in my head. So like this bit here, so this bit's dark, but obviously they kind of blurred together, cauliflower together, but you can still see that this is kind of a shape and that's a shape, although I might actually make this one more of a shape if I can. If I can just sort of pull the pigment up and then add some gamboge and see if I can I don't know how long I've been recording. I've definitely been struggling. Gamboge. Okay. So this bit might be the tricky bit that I'm really nervous about, that I wanted to do, which is get a lot of indigo. Sorry. Oh, I'm regretting this now. I don't know now. I kind of like how... It's, second guessing it now, but this was my original plan, was to get indigo that's quite dark to also do some of the middle parts and get it to mix together and bloom out maybe. And then possibly oh, you see, I don't know. Oh dear. Maybe. I don't know. It's hard. Well, I've already started it now, so I'll have to. We'll see how this works. Do I think it's better than the painting I did 2 years ago? Yes, I do. So that's still progress. Maybe in a couple of years' time, I'll finally manage to make the painting that I envision in my head to a T and do it. I don't want to say perfectly, but do it how I actually saw it in my mind. I just wanted... That kind of works because I still wanted the yellow to show through, but I think I still wanted this indigo bit to be a bit darker. But I think any dark would kind of overwhelm it and I'd miss all the details. Okay, so while I'm letting that dry, and I'm going to decide whether I want to... Oh, I don't know, make it any darker. Oh, maybe I could do it that way. Because now it's all wet, maybe I could kind of put it in spots, in areas, and see if it will... You know, do what wet and wet does, and it can kind of maybe do its own thing. This is on the trial and error part of liking what you've done but want to still get the image envisioned, but worrying about ruining what you were kind of happy with. You know, I could have left it, but I still wanted to give my vision a try. Or maybe I should have just left it. I don't know. I think that's closer to my vision, maybe. I don't like that bit though. I don't want it to... I still want it to look a little bit more natural, I guess, organic, so it doesn't look like I've done exactly what I'm doing there. I still want it to look a bit more loose and that it's done its own thing. I'm just going to... I think also it's difficult getting my mind round remembering that I've put masking fluid on so I can paint over the top. Although if not all of them, I'm pretty sure this one is bubbled up and the paper underneath is also going to be white but also have this yellow bit and the blue bit. Okay, now I'm going to get some burnt umber. I'm just going to put it in this little bit of my palette here, but because there's a little bit of indigo left, I'm going to just use that to maybe do a bit of this, a bit more, bit of indigo. Oops, sorry. Nope. Van Dyke brown, maybe. Get a bit of a darker colour, darker brown, because this is going to be the soil. Okay, got to try and make a grey that looks different to that. So maybe this one will do. I'm just going to leave some white spaces for the highlights on the rock. I don't want to go too detailed into them. I don't want to say I don't care how the rocks look, but they're a bit more, there we go, less important, I would say, maybe. Sorry to the rocks, but maybe like that. Right, I'm going to let that dry and see where we are. Okay, so I've blow dried it with my hair dryer. Take this out of the way, and this is what it's looking like. I actually do like it. I do actually like how this is turned out, I won't lie. It's definitely come off a little more sketchy than an actual painting, I would say, but that's not a problem. That's not a thing against it or anything. I like how it looks. So yeah, I like that. Right, so let's go ahead and do one of the ultimate tests on how well this worked, and obviously must not forget to work on this one. Although it is a bit yellow, I guess it's not. You can kind of still tell it's meant to be a snowdrop. So let's do this one. I know this one worked. Oh, nice! I stand corrected. It did actually still cover it all. Oh, that makes me rather happy. I think 2 years ago when I did this painting, the one that I failed at, because it's not an awful painting, it's just not how I wanted it to look. I don't think I'd actually bought masking fluid then. I think I was just avoiding painting on the flowers, but I will say it's much easier, convenient to obviously have masking fluid, because then you don't have to worry about that. You can just paint how you want. Oh, I like that. So now obviously this one, do I have, hang on, do I have I have a white gel pen, but do I have a big pen to obviously cover more? Well, it's a small flower, so I should be okay if I just colour it in with like a pen, maybe. Although I am going to add snow splatter, like I have done with this one. So maybe it might be just better just using ink on it. Well, it kind of works. I mean, that has worked. I mean, I know it's not as bright as the other ones, but that was my mistake. I was obviously too absent-minded to notice that I didn't put masking fluid on one of the petals, one of the snowdrops. That was silly of me. Okay, so I'm going to carry on with my small brush that I've been using for the painting, because I don't want the splattering to be too harsh. So let's get my ink. Although oh, hang on. One thing that I did do on this painting that I tend to do, just add some the highlights of grass. I don't really know what that does for the painting, but I just like adding it. Some highlights to this. I want to show obviously me using the ink, but I just have this fear of it spilling. I did spill half of my masking fluid and I've only got a quarter left, so it's not too far-fetched that I would do that. get some more ink. Okay. Ooh. Right, I think that's just about as much ink as I'm going to need. Okay, I think that's just about finished. I actually really like it. I think it turned out a lot better than, like I said, the painting I did 2 years ago. This is much closer to my idea that I had back then. Oh, so I will put the photo that I did 2 years ago of that painting here somewhere. I hope I can edit that photo in actually, otherwise that's going to be really embarrassing. I'm going to sound silly. But there we go. So there we go. That's this painting compared to the painting that I'm going to put up now. Yeah, and see what you think between the two of them. I like this one. I really do like this one. I love the loose feel, and like I say, I think I may like it a lot because I got the idea that I wanted down on paper a lot more than compared to the other painting. Obviously, the only thing is obviously I'm still sad that I forgot this snowdrop here with the masking fluid. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching.